Welcome to You Son of a Witch. We're doing a
Really,
wizarding
hi,
probe
but yeah.
into two really cool flash fiction stories.
Yeah, sons of witches, extraordinary creatures.
Definitely get ready to have your perception of reality delightfully twisted.
Oh, yeah, twisted for sure.
These stories really grab you. They take familiar settings,
Yeah,
like a World Fair or
yeah,
Victorian London,
yeah,
and then subtly, well, sometimes not so subtly,
right.
pull back the curtain and reveal this hidden layer of magic.
Yeah, and what's so cool is that they don't hit you over the head with it. It's like, oh, there it is.
Exactly. Okay, first up, we're heading to the 1889 World's Fair in Paris for the Eiffel Enchanter.
Hmm.
When you think Eiffel Tower, what comes to mind?
Innovation, modernity.
Yeah, exactly. This story flips that completely on its head.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is how the author uses this very symbol of progress to explore something ancient, like the threat of a tear in reality. Our enchanter, Marcel Fournier, he doesn't see steel and rivets. He sees potential, a conduit for magical energy.
It's almost like the ambition of reaching such heights
Yeah.
has a mystical resonance to it.
Yeah.
And it's not just a hunch he has. He has this ancestral prophecy, this terrifying vision of nightmares spilling into the world right there in Paris.
All right, in the heart of the city.
You can totally see why he feels compelled to act, even if his methods are a little unconventional.
To say the least. I mean, setting up shop at the base of the Eiffel Tower, talk about audacity.
I know.
And then all the rumors start flying, muttering to light bulbs, arguing with steam
It's
engines.
such a great picture of a brilliant mind operating just outside the realm of what's considered normal.
But behind the eccentric behavior, there's a purpose.
Oh, absolutely.
His experiments with copper wiring and meticulously etched crystals, it shows a fascinating attempt to blend traditional magical elements with the emerging technologies of the time. Like, he's trying to interface with the tower's inherent energy.
It's like he's trying to supercharge the tower into this giant magical antenna.
Right.
Here's where it gets really interesting. We start with these subtle tremors, almost like a shift in the underlying rhythm of the city.
Okay.
And then these shadows start to coalesce, becoming these clawed figures that only Fournier can truly perceive.
It's the prophecy unfolding.
Yeah, the prophecies unfolding before his very eyes. And the author places this impending tear above the Arc de Triomphe, another iconic landmark. You get this powerful contrast between celebration and potential destruction.
Mm.
What do you think the author's suggesting by setting this ancient threat against such modern triumphs?
That's a great question. Maybe it's about how even our greatest achievements can be vulnerable to forces we don't understand. Or maybe it's suggesting that these powerful symbols inadvertently attract such energies. What do you think?
It's an interesting thought, isn't it?
Very much so.
And then the bleeding wound in reality opens. Just picture that. Pure darkness reaching out. The stuff of nightmares.
Visceral, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Fournier's reaction, not panic, but a defiant laugh, speaks volumes about his commitment.
And perhaps the touch of madness that often accompanies such intense dedication.
And in that moment, he takes this gamble, channeling his own magic through the Eiffel Tower. It becomes this beacon of light, this shimmering barrier against the encroaching darkness. But as we know, magic always comes at a cost.
Right. His personal power isn't limitless.
Exactly.
The flickering of the barrier underscores the immense strain he's under. And the desperate move to draw energy from the World's Fair itself, the lights dimming, the machinery sputtering, it highlights the interconnectedness of things, both mundane and magical. It makes you think, are we often unknowingly tapping into or being affected by unseen energies?
That's a great point. And then you have the Eiffel Tower itself groaning under the strain, this iron giant being pushed beyond its limits by forces it was never intended to withstand. It's just a fantastic image of this human creation being co-opted by something older and more powerful.
Yeah, I love that imagery.
And in that extreme moment, the barrier holds. It doesn't just defend, it pushes back, sealing the tear. The silence that follows must have been profound, the echoes of those otherworldly shrieks fading away. You have to wonder about the psychological toll on Fournier witnessing such an event.
And then, just like that, he melts back into the celebrating crowds, unnoticed, unthanked.
It makes him this unsung hero, sharing this silent kinship with the Eiffel Tower itself. Both unique, perhaps misunderstood, yet vital to the city's safety. What do you make of this idea of unseen protectors in plain sight?
It's compelling. It suggests that extraordinary acts and individuals might be all around us, operating outside of our usual perception, maintaining a balance we're not even aware of.
It really makes you wonder, okay, we're crossing the channel to the misty moors of Victorian England for The Wizard of Baker Street. And yes, you heard that correctly, Sherlock Holmes has a magical secret. What did you think of this twist on such a well-known character?
Oh, brilliant. We're so used to Holmes as the ultimate rationalist, the master of deduction.
Right.
This element of hidden magical ability, it adds a whole new layer to his genius and his methods. It makes you reconsider how he might arrive at some of his seemingly impossible conclusions.
Absolutely. It starts with this classic Gothic trope, the spectral hound terrorizing the Baskerville estate.
Yeah.
We get the luminous bees, glowing eyes, fiery footprints, classic spooky stuff. And initially, Holmes is his usual skeptical self, offering perfectly logical explanations for everything.
Right. That initial skepticism is crucial. It grounds the story in the familiar Holmesian world of logic and observation.
Yeah.
And his explanations, phosphorescent moss, faked footprints, it's exactly what we'd expect from him.
Exactly.
It highlights his commitment to the tangible, the provable, even when confronted with the seemingly supernatural.
But then, that subtle shift. That moment in Sir Baskerville's study where his incredibly sharp senses detect something beyond the mundane. The scent of ozone, that flicker in his peripheral vision.
Right.
It's like his magical senses are kicking in alongside his deductive reasoning.
That's the moment, right, where the two sides of Holmes begin to merge. He's picking up on these inexplicable details, and the wizard in him recognizes the telltale signs of magical activity, like the ozone. That's often associated with certain types of magical manifestations, almost like an electrical discharge.
It's super interesting, and instead of reaching for his magnifying glass, he pulls out this battered leather pouch filled with herbs. Such a great image. The iconic tool of the detective, replaced by the more arcane tools of his hidden craft. What does that juxtaposition suggest to you?
Well, it suggests that for Holmes, these two seemingly disparate approaches are equally valid tools in his arsenal for understanding the world.
Yeah.
These herbs aren't just random plants. They're reagents for a ritual, a way to perceive what lies beyond normal sensory experience. And the ectoplasmic residue, he reveals, confirms that this is no ordinary hound, but a vengeful spirit.
So the investigation takes a supernatural turn. It's not about physical clues anymore, it's about delving into the realm of the spectral. And we see Holmes, the master of logic, now studying ancient grimoires, deciphering banishment rituals alongside his usual methods. This is just a fascinating blend of the modern scientific mind and ancient magical knowledge.
It really speaks to the limitations of purely rational inquiry when faced with the truly supernatural.
Yes.
Holmes's genius is his adaptability, his willingness to embrace different forms of knowledge when necessary. Consulting ancient texts, that underscores the gravity of the threat. This requires more than just deduction to combat.
And then we get this incredible hunt on the misty moors. But now Holmes is armed with a more than just his intellect. Silver bullets inscribed with ancient wards. Talk about leveling up your crime-fighting arsenal.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's got this desperate banishment spell ready.
The image of Holmes, the quintessential Victorian gentleman preparing for a magical battle, just fantastic. Yeah. And the silver bullets, the inscribed wards, great example of how folklore and magical practice intersect, using symbolic materials and language to enhance their power.
I love it.
Imagine Inspector Lestrade's reaction to witnessing such a scene. His entire understanding of reality must have been in jeopardy.
I know, right? And then that incantation. You can almost feel the raw power as it leaves Holmes' lips, forming this vortex of light that consumes the spectral hound. It's this epic clash between the natural and the supernatural, witnessed by a totally bewildered Lestrade.
And the aftermath.
Yeah.
Almost as telling as the encounter itself.
Oh, for sure.
The mist closing in as if to conceal the encounter, and Lestrade clinging to a rational explanation, a trick of the light. It highlights how often we dismiss or rationalize events that lie outside our conventional understanding.
Absolutely. And Holmes, ever the pragmatist, just pockets that spent bullet and returns to Baker Street. The final image of his magical tools next to his violin, it perfectly encapsulates this seamless integration of the mundane and the arcane in his life. He's not just solving crimes, he's silently safeguarding London from these unseen threats.
Right.
What does that quiet return suggest about his role as protector?
I think it reinforces the idea of Holmes as a guardian operating in the shadows. His magic isn't for show, it's a tool, it's necessary for maintaining order in a world where not everything can be explained by logic.
I love that.
His discretion also kind of speaks to the potential dangers of revealing such truths to a world not ready to accept them.
So reflecting on these two very different stories, what did you find most compelling about the way they weave magic into these established historical and literary settings?
I think it's how both authors ground the fantastical in the familiar. The Eiffel Tower, a symbol of human achievement, becomes a weapon against ancient evil. Sherlock Holmes, the epitome of reason, embraces magic when logic proves insufficient.
Right.
It makes you wonder what other seemingly ordinary aspects of our world might have hidden depths or potential.
Absolutely. And it makes you consider those unexplained occurrences, those local legends, those little historical oddities. Could they be glimpses into this hidden world that intersects with our own?
And would we even have the capacity to truly recognize it if we did?
That's the thought that lingers, isn't it?
It is.
That the boundaries between what we perceive is real and what might be possible are perhaps more fluid than we typically assume.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us for this wizarding probe into the captivating world of flash fiction. If you enjoyed these wild tales of sons of witches and fantastic creatures, be sure to rate and follow You, Son of a Witch, for more thrilling adventures.
More wizarding probes.
Until next time, keep your eyes open. You never know what magical secrets might be lurking just out of sight.